a part of the educational team as it relates to DISD and kids all around. But specifically, we're trying to focus in on DISD. As it relates to the education aspect of it, you were talking about real talk. You were saying let's have some real talks, which I want real talk. What I'm bringing to the table with that is the real talk, and what I've suggested and working on is with DISD. I'm working on the parents, and that is my first priority. I'm hearing what the kids and the students, when I say kids, I'm just saying kids, but what the kids and the students are saying. But what I've identified personally as a problem, and it is parents. And so if it's real talk with me. Now the kids, we got one set of problems over there. We need to listen and do what we need to do with the kids, interact with them. But the first person, in my opinion, that I need to straighten out, are the parents. And so I'm doing some real talk with parents. And I've said that, and that's why you may have seen in yesterday's paper in the morning news, in Bridging the Gap, they're talking about the parental problems that we're having and bridging the gap with the parents and the schools, and then re-engaging that parent with that kid. It's not the parent, but the guardian. But the kid has to have somebody that they're listening to, somebody that they're looking up to, somebody that they can connect to, so that we can do real talk with that kid. Because if you're able to have a connection with the kid, then the kid does not mind sharing certain information, but the parent, in my opinion, has been the problem. Not all parents now, but the parents, in a lot of cases, need a lot of real talk. So what we're doing, we're currently putting together, and I'm charging you to help get this group engaged as a volunteer group, and we can be the lead group that's organizing, or part of organizing. We're going to get the Dallas Convention Center. It's going to be on a Saturday morning. My thing is to have about 8,000 parents to come. Don't come with your kids, just bring your parents. So we can sit down in a room and we can do some real talk. We're working it out so we'll be bilingual, so we can know that we have the Hispanic parents. We're going to reach out to get all of the Hispanic parents, all the black parents, all the young parents. We've talked with the court, with the Justice of the Peace courts, to make sure that everybody, that all the parents that are going there for truancy, because they hear all these truancy cases. Well, Justice of the Peace is going to send us the parents to have to come to this meeting as well. Because those are the parents that I need to have. And this is real talk. Give me the problem. I want the problem parents, I want the good parents, I want the parents, I want the young parents. But now, the mission of DYC will be to re-engage the parent with the responsibility of the kid. And once we get to tell them, and I'm not because the kids are here, I'm going to leave some of the message alone, but you know, it's fun getting there. But now that they're there, right. Now it's a responsibility. Right. And when that kid goes to school, it is the parent's responsibility to make sure that kid arrives at school with the right attitude. So it would then give the teacher an opportunity to further educate that kid. And we're not going to sit back and have a classroom of 35 children and let one bully disrupt 34 other kids' opportunity to learn. So we want to make sure that in this discussion that we're going to have, it's going to be real talk with these parents to make sure they understand. There was a PTA meeting the other night out in Spruce. It was in the paper on yesterday. Colleen Nelson wrote the article. And at the PTA meeting the other night at Spruce, they introduced the staff, they introduced the faculty, and the only other person there to be introduced in Nelson was Dallas Morning News, not one parent. Not one parent. And that only goes to the point that we need to have this parental meeting so that we can re-engage the parents so that they can understand that the kid is not your best friend. I only became best friends with my daddy not long ago. Right? He was my daddy, and I was his child. And my mama still reminds me today that I'm her child. So she hasn't let me go yet. But at the same token, we have parents that think that the kid is their best friend. And we have one little girl that we saw yesterday came up to our office, and she had a little baby, and the baby had these little Air Jordan tennis shoes on. These shoes about this about this big, and they had these little matching Air Jordan shoes on. Those Air Jordan shoes were $125 a piece, a pair, and she has 4 kids that she bought all these shoes for, versus doing some 5 kids. You know, she's trying to keep everybody just alike. We have to get a handle on her at this time, right, so that we can make sure she understands that the baby foot is like this today. And what's going on when his foot gets this big? You know nothing about it. So we have to try to get into the mindset of the parent to be a little bit more in tune with the needs of the child today. Because at $125 for one of those pairs of shoes, could have bought some coloring books and could have bought some other stuff,
tutoring,
food, some other things for that kid. Because now, next year, none of those kids will be able to wear none of those $1,000 worth of shoes. So what we have to do is make sure that we stress to that parent the importance of today's need and not today's fashion per se, and today's responsibility to making sure that that kid excels. If you go to these fast food places now, you look and see how we're scrambling for jobs. If we're not competing and are not able to compete, and our kids are not equipped with the right thing in order to get a job, then